Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode, another edition of Frontline News, bringing you frontline news and conversation from around urban America and beyond. And we have an exciting show for you this evening. Um, Many folks don't know of the work that we do, that is people empowered by the struggle. We are a in good standing 501c3 nonprofit organization. And, um, when people ask what it is that we do, I think in many cases you should ask, what is it that we don't do? Because if someone comes and places their struggle at our feet, we are going to try to help them navigate through that struggle, whatever that struggle may be, whether it's housing, whether it's homelessness, whether it's job, whether I'm hungry, whether I'm suicidal, whether I'm dealing with substance abuse, whatever your life struggle may be. We are a one-stop shop for all struggles. And tonight, one of the struggles that we are dealing with many times in our organization is the struggles of being incarcerated. In many cases, those being wrongfully incarcerated are some of the cases that get placed at our lap. And we have been working nonstop to try to get several brothers who we are working with currently in the Maryland Correctional Facility, wrongfully accused, wrongfully prosecuted, and serving out a wrongful prison time. So without further ado, it's only going to be a couple of us tonight. One, myself, DJ J Rod, here with you as one of your co-hosts, but my partner in crime, Yolanda Pulley, who is here, my beautiful queen. She is here with us this evening, and she's going to kind of fill us in and kind of get us up to speed as to what we've been dealing with in reference to several of our brothers dealing with being wrongfully convicted and are serving sentences behind being wrongfully convicted. So, Yolanda, first of all, good evening, my queen. How are you doing this evening?
I can't call it. It's always a struggle. Life is a struggle. That's why we call people empowered by the struggle, because in order to understand the people, you have to be one of them. So, life struggles happens, but we have a special guest tonight. His name is Dante Spivey, and he want to bring enlightenment to what's actually happened to him. He's an incarcerated person who's been wrongfully convicted, and basically he wants his voice heard, because it's no way that we know that this person is wrongfully convicted and yet they're still sitting behind bars. So what I'm gonna do is Daron on? Who else on?
No, it's just me and you right now, and because of time's sake, because folks, we are dealing with the fact that he only has about 15 to 20 minutes worth of time for the call, so we're just going to jump right in it from here, moving forward. So, Yolanda, introduce our dear brother.
So, Mr. Spivey, can you hear me? Can you hear him,
Okay.
Jason?
I can hear you very little. What you want to do is make sure that your speaker is down. If you're using your tablet, make sure it's down near the bottom of the tablet. No, I'm sorry. If you're using your tablet, the microphone actually is in the back of your tablet. The top little hole, there's a little pinhole on your tablet there. So that's where you want to be aiming the speaker at.
Let me say it again.
Are you on your tablet?
Yeah, I'm on my tablet.
All right, so yeah, to the back, on the back of your tablet, there's a little hole there. Just make sure the speaker on the bottom of your phone is on that little hole towards the back, and we should be able to hear a lot better.
Okay, Dante, say something.
Very little. No. You got the volume up on the speaker?
Yep.
All right. And again, it's on the back of your device, not on the front. On the back, there's a little hole. So it's going to be kind of weird where you're holding it. All right, it's getting louder now.
I'm talking to that. You hear me now? Can you hear me now?
A little better.
Oh, say it again.
Jason, can you hear him?
I could hear you.
Okay, go ahead, Dante.
Okay, my case. I hope. Thank you everyone for giving me a chance to hear my case. Let me see.
It's. Tell them to hold up for a second. It still sounds really low for some reason.
All right, let me see if it's my iPad. Nope, my iPad is up. Hold on.
mhm. And just bear with us, folks, while we deal with the technical issues here. And there's not a possibility you can call me on your phone and
Can you, Jason? Can you add the call in to get for it to be louder?
what I do, just call you, right?
Hold on, great dial you from my phone. Which one are you? You on what's the name?
I'm dialing you now.
Okay, hold on.
All right, now mute yourself.
Okay.
All right. Now are you there, my brother? Mute yourself, Yolanda.
Sound louder.
All
You
right.
can hear me because you sound louder now.
Can you hear him?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, and you can hear him, Yolanda. He sounds clear now. Okay. All right, Mr. Spivey. So for everyone listening, if you could just please explain who you are, and your plight, your struggle that you're currently going through.
Oh, yes, my name is Don 65. I'm currently incarcerated. I've been incarcerated since September 27th, 1998. My case deal with police and prosecutor misconduct. My case happened in the Rolling Park area of Baltimore City. I believe I was systematically being railroaded because the area was a fluent white neighborhood and I'm a black male with a criminal record. But like I said, it's deal with police corruption. I have a DNA issue. My DNA issue cleared me since 2011. I've been having problems getting a hearing. My case been in front of a judge, Melissa Penn, the same judge that had to do a non-fire case. The case been before his case. I have a tested judge. She wants to nail her, ask for an appointment of counsel. She will not give me response to any of my petitions or motions. I just retained an attorney named Elizabeth Franzoso. So hopefully she will help me with my case. But anyway, the case deals with police corruption. During the trial, police testified that they stopped me because I had on a gray shirt and a gray hat that the victim's sister could describe. I had on, let me go back to the gist of the case. The victim was allegedly kidnapped. His name was Daniel Durrell. He called his sister in the house. He told her she was dropping some drugs off. The person had on a gray hat with an NY on there and a gray shirt. She did not identify the person, but she identified the clothes. These police officers identified me, said I wore the clothes. Officer Brooke Nice, Matthew Smith, and Officer Michael Wayne. They said when they stopped me, I had on a gray shirt and gray hat. DNA evidence was sent to screen me. Said I just said the screen to me shows that I was not wearing a gray shirt and gray hat. They said they stopped me, had it on, and I ran and took it off. They also planted a gun, drugs, and car keys nearby me. The police said they picked the stuff up without no gloves on, so that means the shoes and the police picked up the gloves, the gun, the drugs was in the bag, and the keys have no gloves on. But no fingerprints were found on none of the items. I wonder how is that possible. There was a citizen named Cameron Stearns that was assaulted that day, kind of apprehended and stuff. I never seen this man a day in my life. But when I first got arrested on news media, they made it seem like it was me that assaulted him. A few years back, I had a private investigator go in a room. He said he tried to give him a statement to assistant state attorney, Darren Gibbons. And he said when he tried to get a statement to him, he said he was going to mess up the whole story because he can't use you. That was a statement I got from him a few years back.
Wow.
Also, the victim's sister gave a statement that she identified someone that came to the house to the police. But that statement came up missing, and that photo of it came up missing. I never received it. Also, Right now, I'm going through an issue, a dilemma. I have a post-conviction hearing in front of a judge, Gregory Sampson. He keeps trying to put the post-conviction for the DNA issue. The DNA issue can exclude it. Post-conviction only shows errors in the trial. He set the hearing for September 13, 2023, but I have an order from Judge Melissa, Judge Lynn Stewart to say my DNA issue is supposed to be heard first. And they won't, for some reason, they won't give me no hearing. I keep trying to, persistently trying to get a hearing for the DNA issue. I got my results already. If you go to Google my name, Don Tooth Bobby, and my case number 198300048, and the date November 30th, 2011, and January 23rd, 2013. You can read my transcripts on the internet. Just Google my name, and it'll show the details of the DNA issue so you heard first. I'm afraid that they're trying to blackball me and not hear the DNA issue, trying to post-conviction issue, and you raise it. There's no, I'm waiting on Judge Winston Sims to give me a hearing. Like I said, a petition was before Nard Sayed got a hearing. They gave him random DNA testing. My testing was already done. All I just needed was a hearing. And they gave him a hearing with weeks. Also, there was a note in my hometown file that showed who set the people up and who was the shooter. And on top of that notice, it had the words Kenny written on it. The name Kenny is the nickname of Kenyatta Harris. My case is connected to a federal case in which Kenyatta Harris was alleged killed for his role in Damian Rose shooting. I did not receive this file. His note until 2010 or 2009. The note was dated 10/12/98. That could have helped me in my case. They refused to turn over it. I'm trying to get Kenyatta Harris homicide file. They don't give it to me. I can't. It's hard for me to find a lawyer to fight them. I just needed some assistance. I'm trying to get, if anybody can help me in any type of way, it'd be appreciated. I know I'm everywhere when I'm talking right now, but I just need help. If anybody got any questions right now, I'll take them. Also, like I said, I retained the attorney Elizabeth Franzoso. If anybody trying to donate, help them, but help me pay for it, our phone number is 301-704-8983. Y'all still there?
Yeah, we still here, and if we also are sharing the information, family, to the nonprofit. If you want to get in contact with us, if you didn't catch any of the information that Brother Spivey was throwing out there, don't worry about it. We're flashing on the screen as we speak the number to our nonprofit. You can get in contact with us, and we'll make sure that any aid or assistance or just support gets to Mr. Spivey. Let me ask you something. So we know that you are dealing with some delays in the process, and we have another brother that we're working with, our actual director of inmate affairs, who also is another gentleman who is wrongfully convicted and is serving time currently. And he's been dealing with, just in some cases, just getting them to see a sense of urgency. Are you seeing some of the same things in reference to trying to, get your case heard and get before people? Are you seeing some of the same things, to where it seems like the system, has no sense of urgency in reference to your plight?
Yes. Yes, I am. I think that's like a across the board thing. It ain't just one or two cases. If you see, not to go around, if you do any background check on Baltimore City cases, it's almost either prosecutor withholding evidence or police lying on stand in that case, or the state, all the governments delaying that case. That's what we go through. That's like a widespread thing.
Right. And it seems like the burden of proof falls on you, as opposed to, them willing to investigate, look at the information, and move forward accordingly. Especially, in your particular case, you have things that are obviously clearing you, like, for instance, the DNA. And there's no other physical evidence in this particular case. that proves that you were involved, with this incident. So it's like, even though you present the information to the state, the state, there has to be a better process. And I think that's why we really wanted you to come on and present your case, not only just to the family that's watching and listening, and hopefully, family, y'all will share this. And if there is an attorney or someone out there that would love to be able to help our dear brother, Mr. Spivey, who's been wrongfully incarcerated, and you know, uh, has information to exonerate him. If there's anybody out there in the family that would, love to help him, one of the lawyers out there, please, by all means, reach out to us. But again, this is becoming too familiar with a lot of these cases that our organization has had the opportunity, to be blessed with, to be able to handle, to be able to mediate and represent, you guys' particular issue. Again, this seems to be the norm. There is no sense of urgency. There seems to be systems broken in the process, and in many cases, it seems like judges, don't even want to even have the hearings in a lot of cases, and we have to do something to change that. Because there shouldn't be one innocent man serving time in our system, especially when there's enough information to show that this gentleman is innocent. We should be working, expediently to try to get you home, my brother, to your family, and get you back, to your life, that you left behind. So, I think that's more of why we wanted you to come on. This is the battle cry, family. We have too many black men and black women that are wrongfully incarcerated in the system. A lot of this predates the gun trace task force, so a lot of this, hasn't been exposed because we only know of one particular indiscretion, and that is the gun trace task force. But there were other dirty cops. There were other dirty cops. There were other officers and other detectives out there, unfortunately, not holding themselves, to a standard. And they've done things that unfortunately have gotten our brothers, and our sisters, currently serving time wrongfully. So, there has to be a battle cry. There has to be a sense of urgency, when we have these incidences, to where we know the evidence is pointing clearly that this brother is innocent of all charges. And there has to be a better process in place to make sure that brothers, like Mr. Spivey, gets home, as fast as possible. Yolanda, you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, see, the problem that I have is because we had a high rate of, mass incarceration back in the 80s and the 90s. Then this has
And
become
Yolanda, go ahead and take yourself off mute so he can hear you.
okay. I said the problem that I have with it. Women, can you hear me, Dante? Dante, can
Yeah,
you hear me?
yeah, he should
Okay,
be able to hear you now.
right. So the problem that I have Okay, so the problem that I have is that this has become too normalized from, convictions back in the 80s and the 90s. And because they sat there so long, it feel like they feel comfortable with just leaving them there. Um, if you know that someone DNA and everything can exonerate them, I mean, he said he's been fighting exoneration of DNA since 2011. If that doesn't that doesn't speak volumes, I mean, I done reached out to since I didn't got involved with this, I done reached out to the home. I mean, the Innocence Project. No one has returned my calls in reference to him, and a whole bunch of other things. Organizations that's not even willing to stand up. But his exonerations. I mean, his DNA speaks for itself, and not to mention, it was a lot of cases that was thrown out back in the day because of the ballistics guy. Now, what was that ballistics guy named, Dante?
You might have to repeat the name because we can't hear him.
Well, I know it's a ballistic guy that lied about all his credentials and his work and all this, that, and the third. So why these people that have not been these people that have been sitting there since the 80s, 90s are still sitting in prison trying to fight for exoneration? So yes, fam, we need you out there. We need y'all to, our silence is consent when it comes to this. If it was your loved one, you would want them home. He wants to go home. He done missed out a lot on his life. How long you been incarcerated?
Since what? 1999, right?
It'll be 25 years in September this year. 25 years still fighting for a murder that you did not do. This is who? James Capero. And we all know who? Oh, Joseph Capero. Yeah, that is. Joseph Capero is the one that, handled his ballistics case. That these people were known racists. They were known to just go with the system as is. He did it because he didn't know what he was doing. So it was easier to throw black men behind bars and, have them fight with no money than for him to lose his job. This is utterly crazy. It's ridiculous. And this stuff right here has to have a stop to it. We have to figure out a way how to hold these judges accountable for their actions too, because he's been waiting to hear back from this judge for how long? He's been waiting to hear back from the judge about his motion since January of 2022. We are now a year out, and he still have not heard anything about them bringing a case back up his DNA. Come on now. Enough is enough. And I'm tired of the racist things that, go along with it. So like I said, fam, we need y'all to help us help him. And at the end, we all did our good deed. At the end, he's home with his family. He's with his children. How many birthdays and Christmases and everything else that he missed out on? You know what I'm saying? The death of family members. Y'all would not want to go through that. We don't want him to go through that no longer either.
Let me ask you something and ask him to just confirm this. So I see that on Facebook he has the Justice, the number 4 Spivey. That is one way that folks can get information, correct?
Do yours, Jason.
So I wanted to ask you, Brother Dante. So the family can get information by going to Facebook, and it's Justice, the number 4 Spivey, Spivey, and find out more information in reference to your case, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I got to give a shout out to the People Power Assembly for helping put that together. And they also have a video on YouTube. We're going to play that video as well, because I know we don't have much time with you, and I know that eventually the call is going to drop. But we're going to play the video that kind of also tells your story that was filmed by the People Power Assembly and the prisoners.
Jason?
And the Prisoners Solidarity Committee. Are you familiar with that video?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, family, we're going to play that, but before we play it, because I know that he doesn't have much time, I don't want him to not go without his voice being heard. And family, if you're just joining us, we are talking to our dear brother Dante Spivey, who's been wrongfully incarcerated since, I believe, 1999.
98.
98. I'm sorry. He was charged in 98, convicted in 99. Has been locked up ever since. He has DNA evidence to clear him, and other additional evidence to clear him. Is there anything else that you want to tell the community in reference to your issue, Brother Dante?
If it's any help y'all can give me, I accept anything. Right now, I need all help.
I think I may have lost him. Did I just lose him?
Wait a minute. Hold on, Dante. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on, Dante. Jason's call dropped. Hold on.
Call the other number. Actually, you want me to call you?
I'm doing it now.
All right. Sorry about that. I don't mean to startle y'all with that alarm. Okay. All right, brother Dante, you there? Brother Dante?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, I accept any help I can get. If whether help me get media attention on my case, people come to court when I go, anything, any donating to my attorney. Like I said, I give the attorney information. I mean, when we good friends though, so I just retained her. Hopefully she will help. My
Yes.
phone number is 301-704-8983.
All right, and I'm in the process of right now. I'm actually showing the community um, your uh, your Facebook page, Justice Number 4 and Spivey. So let's bring that up on the screen so everyone can see that. Um, and again, you can go, and if you want to learn more information, it's Justice the Number 4 Spivey. I'm not sure exactly how much of a petition drive would work. I know that one thing that I am definitely optimistic about, I know Yolanda is optimistic about it as well, is that we do have a governor that we do have his ear to. And, we are going to lean on the governor as much as possible to look into Mr. Spivey's case and another case that we currently have that we are dealing with, and to also look at some way of reforming the process so that it's easier when someone has all the information, they've done the research, folks have come together and have done the research. There has to be an easier process for
Well, he
brothers
didn't
like
basically did his own. He did his own case.
and many of them are doing that. Many of them are doing that, or in some cases, when they are getting these organizations that are part of these exoneration organizations, a lot of times these organizations are putting in the work along with the information that's being given to them, from the person who's, wrongfully incarcerated, by the way. But obviously there are other groups that are doing the investigations. It's not the state trying to correct, for the wrongful prosecution. It's not the state that's willing to push, in many cases, even the judges to rehear these cases. Now, I will say I have to, because I know there's a lot of critics in reference to our former state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby. A lot of folks, like to criticize her and chastise her, but that's one thing that I could honestly say that I appreciate about her administration was that she was focus driven on trying to look at these cases. So you only have 60 seconds, Brother Spivey. Anything else you want to say before we lose you here?
Like I said, any help anybody can give me, like I said in the video, I can accept constructive criticism. I can accept it as long as you're not beating me down in a negative way. I can accept it. Any help anyway.
All right, and again, we are asking the family. 30 seconds remaining. We are asking the family to just, look deep in your resources, look deep within your pockets if you have it, to look deep within even your time if you feel you have the legal expertise to help Brother Spivey. We are asking that you please get in contact with us or get in contact with him with the information that he's provided. Brother Spivey, keep your head up, my brother. We appreciate you, and we're going to continue to fight for you.
I think his call already hung up.
All right, so we might have lost Dante. I'm going to hang up from you, Yolanda, on the phone. So, and I know it's kind of hard, family. So what we're going to do is we're going to play his video. It's about 15 minutes long. So we're going to utilize some of this time. And a petition drive does sound like something, it does sound like something that's feasible, but here's what I love petitions, don't get me wrong, but I think that in this particular situation, sometimes when we look at petitions have one particular task or one particular duty. But in this particular situation, I think that the momentum needs to really be focused on hitting those politicians, especially since we have a 90-day session going on right now in Annapolis. Hitting those folks that may be associated with the Monumental Bar Association, things of that nature. We need to be advocating for some sort of reform when it comes to this. Again, I know that our dear sister Marilyn Mosby, definitely was a champion when it came to this particular issue. But we need some advocacy right now. We need folks to be able to make those phone calls to their delegates and their senators, and look at trying to change the process and how folks who are wrongfully incarcerated, get exonerated. The process is broken. This is not the first gentleman that we worked with. This will be, I believe, the third gentleman that we have
look how
worked
many
with.
other ones, Jason, before him.
Correct.
Before before him, before LJ, before what's his name? I can't think of his name right now.
Melvin.
But before Melvin, before all of them, like the ones that were sitting over there for 33 years, the guy that's been locked up. And another ridiculous part is the guy that Joya's called me about. He's been on parole since he's been on some paroles for like 30, 40 something years. He done grandfathered out of paying, and he's still on parole. His parole officer can't fathom why this man is still there, still on parole, still have to come see her 40 something years later.
Yeah.
You know how many parole people he done been through?
Yeah.
Go ahead and play, because we at 6:33.
Yeah, the system is definitely broken. And so, family, what we're going to do is to continue this advocacy tonight. We're going to play his video. I want y'all to watch his video where he, articulates it a lot clearer than through the phone conversation. So give me 1 second. We'll cue this up. And all right, y'all should be starting to see it on the screen. And we will hit play. Can you hear everything?
Good to meet you. I know that you have very little time. And so.
Can you hear everything?
Yes.
Okay. And shout out, it sounds like that's Sharon CC. Shout out to Sharon CC for putting this together.
Hi, so good to meet you. I know that you have very little time. And so just introduce yourself. I'm Sharon Black. I'm with the People's Power Assembly and also with the Prisoner Solidarity Committee. And so I wanted to make sure that you had a chance really to talk to people about what your case is about and how people can help you. So I'm going to shut up and let you tell us about yourself and your situation.
Well, I want to present evidence to show that police misconduct, prosecutor misconduct, as well as injustices going on with my case. Like, I never had any type of witnesses in my case. All my case was a circumstantial evidence case. All of it based off perjured testimony. The DNA evidence was conclusively proved that 3 white police officers planted evidence on me, lied on stand, committed perjury. It was Officer Michael Lane, Officer Brooks Nice, and Officer Matthew Smith. It was a witness during my case. He was assaulted during a case named Cameron Stearns, and immediately portrayed like I was the one that assaulted him as a citizen arrest. They never caught him during trial or anything. They just had it on the news like I was the one that assaulted him, but I was never the one that assaulted him. I'm trying to get testimony, see whether or not he gave the police a statement, see whether or not that he identified anybody. I'm trying to see if anybody can help me get a statement from him. I'm also trying to get a witness statement from Sharice Burrell, the victim's sister. She was the one. She was called to the witness stand, but she never identified. She just identified the clothes. The DNA would show that I wasn't wearing the clothes that she said I was wearing. A gray shirt, and a gray hat. But NY written on that. DNA evidence showed me that I was excluded. But that was connected to the same thing. Police said when they stopped me, I was wearing a gray hat with the letters NY on there and a gray shirt. And DNA has already excluded me already.
So the DNA basically cleared you of that. In other words, they didn't find your DNA on that.
Yes, it was none of my DNA on it. It was some homicide files I was trying to get. They named Kenyatta Harris. He was killed for allegedly being his role in that. This is his name in here. This is a document from my homicide files. This from October 12th, 1998. I didn't receive this till 2010. This is the dude Kenyatta Harris name right here. I've been trying to get his homicide files because it's evidence. I believe it's evidence to show that I wasn't involved with this murder. But they has not. They refused to turn the file over from the state's attorney or through the Baltimore City Police Department. It was several guys that was convicted for Kenyatta Harris murder in the federal system. One of them was Jermaine Bell. I read his case through this. It was some legal cases that I read through, and the citation number was 2012 U.S. District Lexus 80790, and criminal number RBD-06-0179. Another person convicted with Kenyatta Harris murder was Sean Victor Sterling. His citation number was 2016 U.S. District Lexus 9233. Criminal action number RDB-06-179. Another guy that was convicted all in the federal case was Roosevelt Spann Jr. His citation number is 2011 U.S. District Lexus 45672. Criminal number RDB-06-0179. All these cases show that Kenyatta Harris was supposed to be killed for alleging his role in the murder that I'm convicted for. That's why I'm trying to get the homicide files from the Baltimore City Police Department. Also, during my trial, several police and the crime scene technicians all picked up all the evidence. They never used any gloves or anything. They just picked up everything with no gloves and no everything. And this all was brought up on my trial. Police are taught to not contaminate the crime scene. I'm sure when they first thing in school, they taught to put gloves on whenever they pick up evidence or anything. I also doing an interview with my trial attorney, Michael G. Middleton, and the state's attorney, Donald Giblin, with the Baltimore Sun in '99. My lawyer said that he believes my conviction had something to do with my 1995 case that I was out on bail on. And during trial, he said multiple times that this prosecution had something to do with black and white and the politics of prosecution. It was a wealthy white neighborhood that I got locked up in. And I'm a black man. I'm a young black man.
Roland Park, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Like even before they even found the body when they stopped me, they was like, hold him, he's a suspect. This even before they even found a body or anything. But I was not a suspect. They ain't never found a body or something yet. This was on the KGB. If you look at the time frame of the KGB report, and the time they found the body, it was well before they even found the body. The judge, Ellen Heller, she the one that was the judge on my trial. She lived in the neighborhood where it happened at. And like during my jury selection and voir dire, we asked the court, anybody in the courtroom, does anybody in this courtroom live in this Roland Park area or this zip code? She never closed that. But if a juror lived in that neighborhood or was from that neighborhood, they was excluded. She never brought that to nobody's attention. I learned that from looking at that newspaper article after that. I'm just trying to get media attention on my case. But I need some people to contact Marilyn Mosby, ask my release. I need as many people to fill the courtroom whenever I go to court as possible. I'm in the process of retaining this lawyer, Nancy Forster. I know our attorney fee is gonna be high. I'm trying to set up a GoFundMe page to see if somebody can help me with them funds too. I also got a Facebook group going on. It's called Justice for Spivey. I got somebody like running on the outside. I need people to join that to see, because I'm about to start putting paperwork and stuff on there, link to see everything I'm talking about as far as the DNA papers, all the stuff I sent an email to you. It's gonna be posted on that page. And also, I filed a DNA petition, 8-201 DNA petition in the Baltimore City Circuit Court. So hopefully I'll be getting to court day soon.
Good, good.
I sent Marilyn Mosby a copy of the petition a while ago, but it never got there. According to this was postmarked December 21st, and this is certified mail form, and it still ain't get there yet, according to the post office phone. But any help I can get, I'm just asking for any help I can get, whether it be constructive criticism. I love constructive criticism. Whether I'm doing something wrong, something right, I just need it.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Spivey.
Yeah.
How long have you been incarcerated right now? How long have you been in jail?
Since September 27, 1998.
Oh, wow. So that's how many years now? Without doing the math.
It's 22 going on 23.
23 years
Yes.
for a crime that you didn't commit. That is a long,
Yes.
long time. You have held the faith a lot. You've been doing a lot. And
Yes.
you know what we'll do is we'll put up this on Facebook. We'll definitely join your Facebook group and get that word out and stuff.
Yes.
And so where are you from originally? Baltimore? What part of Baltimore?
Yes. Ricerstown and Gwynn Falls.
Oh, okay, West Baltimore. Okay.
Yes.
I live in East Baltimore, but I'm very familiar with West Baltimore too. So,
Yes.
but definitely, we're going to do everything we can to get this case out in the public's eye. And when you come to trial, make sure you let us know so we can be there in the courtroom to show support and get in touch with you. Is there a place, are you up to people getting, or can you get mail?
Yes. It's,
Okay. Do you want to give your address or your whatever
my
numbers?
My ID number is 285-631. My SID number is 1349349.
Okay.
Jessup Correctional Institution.
We'll post that.
P.O. Box. Yeah.
Go.
P.O. Box 534, Jessup, Maryland 20794.
Great. So
I'm having all my information get it posted up on the Facebook page for Justice for Spivey.
right.
Like I'm in the process, because the person that I had running it out there, she like busy right now, so I gotta wait on her to do everything.
Well, she's doing a great job, because that's how you got in touch with us. You can't complain. You know, she's been pretty darn good.
I'm grateful. If I ever get straight, I'm gonna make sure. If I make it home, I ever get straight, I'm gonna make sure she all right, because she done did a lot for me, man.
Right. I'm shocked that you look young. You look very young. I'm shocked that when you tell me how many years that you have been incarcerated. And, you know, we're hearing the Prisoner Solidarity Committee is getting complaints from a whole lot of cases. And it doesn't surprise us, because I know in Baltimore City, the police are unfortunately been thoroughly corrupt. And there's all sorts of cases that are coming out right now about people who've been locked up by dirty cops, frankly. Because, you know, there's two other cases that we're working on right now. So
Denzel and training, they don't got nothing on Baltimore City Police.
You got a point there. Oh, God.
I got locked up when I was 21. Now I'm 42. I'll be 44 this year.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm very honored and impressed with honored to be speaking to you, and impressed with your commitment to continue to fight for your freedom, and also just hang in there and survive, because sometimes survival is the biggest thing. If you can do that, a long way.
It'd be a lot of people been here dying, brother, from health reasons.
Well, that's the thing I wanted to ask you before. I know your time's very, very limited. In terms of conditions inside the Jessup with COVID, What's the situation? Because we're hearing all sorts of complaints about people not getting PPE and
No, they don't get it out.
so
You got like this. I bought this from somebody. Like inmates make their own. But as far as them giving it to us, they don't give it to us like that.
oh no, and stuff. And soap, people told me that there's not much soap and stuff.
No.
And I take it they haven't given out, the vaccine hasn't been available to people that are incarcerated.
I think they don't test us. Like when dudes test positive, they don't even test the whole tier. We'll find out when they test positive when they come back from quarantine. Like, yeah, I was positive. They ain't never test us. They don't test it too often.
Right. Well, please stay safe.
Yeah, I wash my hands about a minute. If I touch anything outside myself, I come back and wash my hands. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And welcome back, family. Welcome back. And again, just thank you to, and I'm going to actually hold it on that frame right there in case y'all want to write that information down and get in contact with Mr. Spivey. Yolanda, what do you think so far? And again, shout out to Shan. Well, it was Shannon CC, and I think she got divorced. It's Shannon Black. Again, shout out to the People Power Assembly for working on that and putting together that video of Mr. Spivey. But do you have anything to add to this?
Well, yeah, see, unfortunately, it's sad that, not only is he fighting for his exoneration, he's fighting against COVID. They're fighting against a lot. They don't even give them soap to even wash their hands with. Like, come on now.
Yeah, we know they've had issues with PPE since the beginning. And even I have family members that were, well, actually one was a correctional officer. She quit during that time, during COVID time, and it was just deplorable. In many cases, COVID was running rampant through the jail system through tiers, and there was nothing that they could do about it. So I only can imagine, here it is, you're innocent, you're wrongfully incarcerated, and you're in a system that you cannot control the environment or control the variables enough to keep yourself safe. That's really sad. The other issue about this, Yolanda, that really touches me is, I get it that the media has a job and a responsibility to do. That's why, in many cases, I support more independent media, because when independent media gets it wrong, we're, in many cases, willing to come back and have a conversation or a discussion about it. But one thing that I really hate that mainstream media has a tendency to do, they have a tendency to re-crucify someone, during their plight. And in this particular situation, what I'm referring to, family, is going back to the Baltimore Sun article in reference to this particular case, and how, they really just attacked, Mr. Spivey in this particular situation, bringing up his juvenile history and all kinds of stuff in reference to his juvenile history, making it seem like, that this was, plausible, that this particular crime was plausible and could have been committed by Mr. Spivey. And it's crazy because, I talk about it all the time, Yolanda. We talk about it all the time. We all have a history, but our history doesn't dictate who we are in the present or even where we are going in the future. I mean,
well, you know what, Jason, the part that behooves me is that it don't take anything for us to be publicly lynched by the media and by court of public opinion in the streets. But after a certain amount of time, they didn't redo the article, they didn't redo a thing. I think that we need to reach out to them.
no. And I think he nailed it. I think he nailed it when he talked about the political pressure at the time. especially coming from, an affluent community, coming from one of the more politically strong, politically invested,
And it's like because it
politically
happened in that
politically
Roland Park
connected.
area. Yeah, but because
Right.
it happened in that Roland Park area, they was determined they was going to get a
Correct.
body for it. And just
Correct.
like he said, the judge never disclosed the information that she lived in
Correct.
that neighborhood. She should have been excluded, but
Correct.
she was not because she kept that information to herself.
Right.
How is it that that wasn't relooked at? Because she held that information. But like I said, we don't fight for each other. And that's the problem. We don't have black lawyers that's willing to fight for us. We don't have civil rights leaders that's willing to fight for us. We don't have anybody that's willing to fight for us. So we feel like we have to go out here and do it ourselves. This man has been running his own case this whole time by himself. And this is the result, the end result. That was done 2 years ago. That was done 2 years ago. He said he was locked up then. It was 23 years. Now we talk to him today. That's 25 years. And you mean to tell me that nobody went back and re-interviewed him, or, somebody, no lawyer thought it was a good idea? Well, you know what? Let me look into this. The way that they did Syed, say whatever his name is, the way that they did him.
And there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure from the Islamic community in reference to Saeed's case. And that's why I'm saying to the community at large here that there needs to be some pressure from us, from our community in reference to Dante. If we put enough pressure, that kind of, puts that sense of urgency, that lets folks know that Dante is just not a case number, that he's represented by advocates, that he's represented by folks that are just as concerned as he is in reference to his plight in the situation.
Well, I think I need to reach back out to Ivan Bates on the integrity unit, because when I sent him the case, he referred him to his law partner, and his law partner wanted $25,000.
And we're talking about Garcia, and we call names out here, and it's not to be any disrespect to brother Garcia. I
it's
know
very disrespectful, because at the time, why would you sit up there? No, it's very disrespectful, because he was disrespectful when she walked in. When his sister went down there to meet with them, she was on her motorized bike, and he gonna say, she couldn't bring it. The security guards told her she couldn't bring it in, and so they called upstairs, and they came downstairs. He was like, well, if that's all she have, then she can't afford us. What? We're getting real arrogant and disrespectful with our law degrees.
Mm-hmm. And we had a second incident similar to this, and I hate to call out my son's godfather in reference to this, but we had another similar incident where we were really seeking, to get, some lawyers involved, and a young lady whose children, to us, we feel are being kidnapped by the system, and by a state in Missouri. And she's not in St. Louis, where her children is at. She's in the county part, which tends to be more racist. A lot of conservatives everywhere.
But don't forget, she lives in Baltimore.
And we've been trying to, reach out to some of the lawyers and get some help. And I think in some cases, I get it that there's a lot of, resources involved, when you're talking about doing pro bono work, but in some cases, I'm just going by our experience.
We're not even asking
Yolanda,
for pro bono work. We're asking them at the end to sue the state and take it on contingent fees.
Correct.
Now, when he asked for 5 figures, like what are we doing here with you asking for 5 figures? Ben Crump, his ignorant ass secretary who's white, she hung up on me. Where's our civil rights leaders at? We don't have NAACP. We don't have Ben Crump. We don't have nobody. Like, we don't. Who do we have at the end of the day to fight for us?
Right. And I get it. Again, I get it that there's legwork to do. There's a lot of things that have to be done when you're dealing with even though the case may be pro bono or you're picking up, the case and are not charging the client, we realize that there's still a lot of stuff involved that does have fees.
Yeah, okay, let's take her for instance. She have all her documentation, every piece of paperwork, so they do not have to call anybody and get it. Dante Spivey has all his paperwork. He has a stack of papers that he sent me this freaking big. So he done did his own case. All his depositions, he has everything. So they don't have to go through all that. The only thing that they have to do is
review
the information
and
present it to the judge.
Is review, and in some cases, add their legal expertise where needed at. Most of these folks are already doing the legwork. They're putting in the time to do their own research and get their case together. But I just don't. And again, I get it. 7 years of law school. 7 years to be barred. The tuition. I get it, but there used to be a time in our community, and this is from what I read. I'm not from that era. I'm not from the 1940s, 1950s. But there used to be a time in our community, if there was an injustice in our community, an injunction or some sort of legal action or some sort of class action lawsuit, something was going to take place to put a stop to it. That's where you had a change to the redlining housing policies, because they band together as lawyers and fought for the community.
You don't see this in white communities. You don't see this in Jewish communities.
No.
And you damn sure don't see them raping them
for
freaking money. No poor family in Baltimore City who can't pay BG&E water bill nor rent has $25,000 sitting around, have $55,000 sitting around for someone to take a freaking case.
I tell this story all the time. I had a zoning hearing that I had to go to when I was part of the Merchants Association, when I was president for Irvington. And when we went to the meeting, it was a Roland Park zoning hearing. They didn't want a subdivision in this one particular community. And when they presented their case to zoning, they had about 3 lawyers from their community. Now, of course, they all live in their community. They all lived in Roland Park. Matter of fact, one of them lived on the street that they were going to subdivide, and they didn't want this subdivision to happen and take place. And they brought 3 lawyers from their community. Now, I'm pretty sure that they probably was not paying those lawyers, but those lawyers felt that they had a stake because they were, one, Jewish. It was a Jewish cul-de-sac that was being looked at being subdivided. They were representing Jewish residents in that community, and they all banded up together to protect. And guess what? At the end of the zoning hearing, there was no subdivision. The land did not get divided up. The land stayed exactly how it was zoned in that community. They weren't having it. And we need to get back to those basics.
Jason, it's our time. It's 7 o'clock.
Yep. We need to get back to those basics. You know what I mean? But
in order to get back to them basics, everybody got to stick together and come on to one accord.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have that.
That's the plight, and unfortunately, the fiddle that gets played in our community.
Unfortunately, our civil rights has become a big business. So, we have to do it ourselves. But thank you, fam, for joining us.
Yep.
I'm gonna end out by saying, be careful of your who leads you and leaders, and who leads you. Who leads you are people who's willing to stand that battlefield with you. Leaders are basically TikTok and Instagram and all these other, it's just all these, it's just sickening. I'm just sad right now. But go ahead and take us out, Jason.
All right, family. Love y'all. Do something for someone other than yourselves. Until next week, family. Right. And we need your support for Dante Spivey. So please, if you can, look up that information. Write him if you can. Give him some words of encouragement to lift his spirits up during this time. We love y'all, family. We will see y'all next week. Same time, same bat channel. Good night.